Prompts, such a simple but helpful thing in creative writing, though every author has a different opinion about them. To some, they might seem like a fraud, or to others, they might seem cringy, but I will show you exactly how great they can be, how to use them correctly, or just how to be inspired in general. Whether you're new to creative writing or you consider yourself a pro, this video will have something for you, so make sure to watch until the end. I would greatly appreciate it. Also, I appreciate everyone who subscribed to my last video. Thank you all so much. I see every one of you and you make my day. So if you also want to make my day, make sure you subscribe. But first, you should know that as a fellow writer, I do know it is a little hard to follow someone's advice if you don't know what level that person is at. So if you want to see my writing for yourself, you can check out a preview of my work in progress in my channel bio. Writing prompts used as inspiration for stories can be found just about anywhere online. Pinterest, writing websites, etc. They can be anything from photos to dialogue, quotes, statements, words, themes, etc. Some things can even become a writing prompt unintentionally. At first glance, especially if it's just a picture, one might be clueless on how to turn it into a story, but you can play with prompts to get better at it and get better at writing in general. One simple way to think about prompts is to think of the prompt as part of a movie. What kind of a movie would this prompt be in? What would it look like? What characters would be there? And you can slowly add more and more details until it becomes a full scene or story. I will show an example at the end of this video. I'm sure that if you find a prompt that captivates you, you'll be able to use it well. But don't worry if you ever hit a wall while using a prompt. There's always a way around it. Once you know the basics, you can practice more by planning scenes for prompts that interest you, even if you won't write them. There are also contests and writing challenges online that you can participate in, or even just read to see how others incorporate prompts. You can actually win $250 on Readsy. Thank me later. When beginning to write your story, you can write your story as a prompt to help you get a main idea for what to focus on in your story, like this. Two teens are forced to flee their home in order to survive. Only when they crash on another world, becoming separated, they realize that they could have stopped the whole problem to begin with. All of this practice will help you get better at using prompts. You don't even have to write to gain practice. Just trying to think, what kind of a story could this be used in, will help you get better at using them. No one is amazing at using prompts to begin with, so don't be intimidated by them. They're there to help you out, I promise. You can either use prompts to think of a story from scratch, or you can use one to add to a story you've already planned. Before you add a prompt to an existing story, make sure that it will actually fit in your story. If not, you might be able to change some things to make it fit. I will also talk about this more later. Even if you can't think of a suitable place to insert the prompt, you can always keep them in your back pocket for later. If you already have a simple idea of what you're adding to your story, also make sure you think about what is striking or different about the prompt. What makes it interesting to you? Write based on that. Prompts won't write a whole story for you, so you have to plan more surrounding it, regardless of whether it gave you your initial story idea or if you're adding it to an existing story. Remember to trust your gut. Writing prompts are out of the ordinary, which is what makes them so effective. Don't be afraid to try new things when writing. You'll create an awesome story if you do. When I saw this prompt with an open mind, I immediately thought, ooh, this could hit really differently if the listener was in some kind of danger from the speaker. It could work for other scenarios though. But I thought that the speaker should definitely be the villain. But what is happening in this scene? Well, in my story, there's a scene where the antagonist stops the plan of the protagonist just as they were about to succeed, capturing them. This is where they meet his evil side face to face. I could probably fit it in there. I'd probably have to change the words to say something more like, I advise you to choose your next move very carefully since it fits the scene better. I saw this one and immediately thought it was so cool, but I honestly had no idea what hanahaki was, so I looked it up, and apparently it is a fictional disease in which the victim coughs up flower petals when they suffer from one-sided love. How sad is that? It ends when the beloved returns their feelings. I couldn't ignore the one-sided love trope and began to think about how this could create an awesome story. What if the girl is in love with a boy and they end up trying to go on a journey to find the cure? Perhaps the girl's family is rich and willing to pay a large sum to anyone who can find the cure. Perchance, the boy she is so horribly in love with takes the mission upon himself. So they go search for the cure together, and he begins to like her more and more until the cure seems impossible. Then they finally find the real cure. Yes, that sounds very romantic. So I thought of more details to make it make sense. She probably sneaked out from her home even though her parents had urged her to stay in bed and rest. It probably would have vibes similar to Imperial Japan in the 1900s, since that's where it came from, etc. Those are just the thought processes that go through my head when I look at a prompt. Already think you're amazing at using prompts? Need new prompt ideas when you've already seen every prompt in the universe? Or maybe you just want to get better? Try these things. Like I said earlier, you can always take prompts and switch them up for your needs. So before dismissing a prompt, try changing it in your head to be a little bit different, and you might be able to use it. For example, you could turn this prompt into its opposite, which might actually suit your story better. Imagine the most unserious, silly character you know. Now imagine them staring a deathly monster straight in the eyes solemnly as their companions run away. Something like that. Sometimes one prompt is good, but what is even better is taking more than one prompt and combining them. This can create a very full scene or story. Try using a prompt to write something other than what you're used to. If you usually write prose, try using a prompt for a poem, a play, etc. It's always fun to try new ways of creative writing anyway, and it's good for improvement. Instead of only using prompts, try thinking of a prompt based on another work, or just create one. Then try using it to write in a completely different way than expected. Sometimes you don't even necessarily have to use a prompt in your story, but you can link it to a certain character, place, or event that matches its vibe. It can help you write better when it comes to it, and you'll always have something as a reference. And that is all the tips I have regarding prompts. If you made it this far, let me know in the comment section. I really appreciate it. Until next time, happy writing!